Good morning and welcome to our discussion about librarians in corporate America. I'm Laura Marceau. When I went back to school to become a librarian, a lot of people asked me why. Why would I go back to a dead-end job? They assume that librarians are going away because of ebooks, because of the internet. They don't see the purpose of having a librarian. And they're really missing the point of what a librarian does. A librarian is an information professional. We don't necessarily need books to function, nor do we need a traditional library to function. We need information. The office where I work right now would greatly benefit from a librarian. We have a division called IR, Information Resource, and they're the computer guys. They allow us access to the information, but they don't organize it. And when we have to go and write a document, a report or something, there is no rhyme or reason, there's no organization of templates. You don't know which one is the recent one. And having a librarian to keep all of that in check would make a huge difference. So a librarian is not just your public library, children's story hour type of person. A librarian can greatly benefit the corporate world too. So what is information? Information is data that has been assigned meaning. Data is something like numbers. The number 300. That's data. That means nothing to you. It's merely a number. If you were to say, well, my computer started 300 times in the last year, which was 50% of the time, that's information. That's telling me something. That's telling me that my computer works 50% of the time. If I turn my computer on 600 times, I can be guaranteed it'll actually successfully turn on 300 of them. Knowledge is once that information is processed by you, by a person, and then you understand that information, then it becomes knowledge. So librarians are generally responsible for that middle portion once data becomes information. There are two types of libraries. The common libraries are what we usually think of as libraries, like public libraries or your child's school library. Even academic libraries can be considered a common library, although they also are special libraries. Special libraries are libraries with a specific purpose. They cater to a specific group of people with specific needs, such as music libraries for composers, musicians, or national libraries, government libraries. Corporate library is a special library. It's catering to that specific corporation with their specific information needs. In 1998, the Special Libraries Association, the SLA, did a study on the Fortune 500 companies of the time, and they discovered that 85% of the top 100 businesses on that list employed librarians, and only 50% of the bottom 100 companies on that list employed librarians. And they concluded that all the companies have a use for data information and organization of that data information, the ability to access that information in a timely manner. And all of these are roles that an information professional is an expert on. This is how a librarian can help. The companies you see on this slide all have or had librarians at one point in time. Apple had a very large museum and library, and they donated it all to Stanford in 1997, so they currently do not employ a librarian. So what is a corporate library? A corporate library is merely your company's information organized in such a way that you can access it easily when you need it. A corporate library doesn't have to be in its own special building. It doesn't have to be in its own special room. It can be an intranet. But it's your company's information in a central location of some sort, properly organized, so that anyone at that corporation can access it when the need arises. When I think of corporate libraries, I think specifically of staff turnover. The places I have worked in the last few years have had a high staff turnover rate. Somebody comes in, they stay a couple of years, they leave. Somebody new comes in, they stay a couple of years, and they leave. And every time somebody leaves, they take 2 years or so of knowledge and understanding with them. And then a new person comes in, and it takes them 6 months or so to get up to speed and figure out what the job entails and how to do it and where the last person left off. Having all that information, that knowledge and understanding in one central location, one central brain, would allow the new person coming in to access that information, research what they're supposed to be doing, and hit the ground running. And the librarian would be able to assist them in their information needs. In 2003, Strauss conducted a survey-based study on the return of investment for special libraries. The purpose of the study was to convince budget holders of the value of information services and prove to them that having a library, having an information professional, directly resulted in substantial benefits for the company. The survey did in fact prove this. It showed that having a library actually directly resulted in substantial time savings, cost savings, and business performance, and that the most successful private companies and public sector organizations are the ones that effectively exploit their information. Results also showed that poor utilization of information assets also affect cost and performance only negatively. If you are concerned about your information specialist knowing all of your company's secrets, be assured there is a Library Consultants Code of Ethics, which is published by the American Libraries Association. This is intended to supplement the overarching Code of Ethics for Librarians, also published by the ALA, so your secrets are safe with your librarian. The internet has really changed how libraries do business, and corporate libraries are no different. Corporation is less likely to have a physical library either in its own building or in a room, and the information is more likely to reside on the internet or a web-based program. In an article for Info Today called Assessing Innovation in Corporate and Government Libraries, Zeman Jones and Dysart discuss up-and-coming building blocks for corporate and government libraries, and these building blocks are all internet-based. You're looking at digitalization of information. It's residing on a server or a computer of some sort and being accessed via a computer. Because of the very nature of special libraries, best practices for corporate libraries are virtually impossible to define. The ALA did publish best practices and lessons learned for coalition building, and these apply very well to a corporate library because you have relationships within the corporation, you have relationships outside the corporation, and these ties help make your library stronger and help you understand how to best serve the information needs of all. ProCrest also has a corporate library toolkit which you can download for free on their website, and they include things like marketing booklets, customizable posters, case study templates, and these also can be a big help to a corporate librarian, especially if the librarian is just starting out in the corporate world. Training for corporate librarians includes a Master's of Library Science from an ALA accredited school, although it may be assumed that most corporate librarians have a second degree in business administration or business management. This is actually not the case. It's a minority of those corporate librarians who have that second degree. So a Master's of Library Science is enough to be a corporate librarian. Salaries for librarians in general has been on the rise in the last few years. They range from approximately $50,000 on the low end to about $120,000 on the high end for library administrators. So salaries are actually going in a good direction. Funding for your library, however, is going to be a challenge. Public libraries, school libraries, they have funding available from the government, from special grants. As a corporate librarian, you do not have those options. Most of your funding is going to come from the parent company. There are some business grants out there that the company can get and perhaps apply to your library, but your funding is going to come through your parent library. So if you're a corporation, I hope you consider hiring on a librarian for all your information needs. If you're a librarian who hasn't thought about library positions outside the norm of public library or academic library or school library, I hope you consider becoming a public librarian. You can learn a lot about your business as well as use your library skills that you learned.